Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, March 26, 2024, and we are here this morning and I have to take a moment, and I don't have all of the details overnight. I did see some news about the bridge that was struck in Baltimore, and I have a lot of friends that I call family in Baltimore, and so we're going to check in with them and actually try to see if we can get some folks to talk locally from there and let us know about the human impact, the day-to-day impact on their commute. You know, we have interesting things up here with our commute presently, Columbus Ave. I'm not going to Orange Line, not going to go into that right now. But in all seriousness, it made me think this morning that if something happened and we're coming up on 4 years of COVID, if we had to stay home, do we have the medications? Do we have water? Do we have things? In my case, do I have an emergency power backup so I can try to get info out if something happened? We're talking this morning with the City of Boston's Emergency Preparedness Department. Nancy will definitely give me the right word. I believe their title is CERT, or the acronym for their department is CERT. They actually have some programming that trains community residents to be prepared for emergencies. And so Nancy is going to join us in just a few moments. Brother Chiron was supposed to be with us as well. He will try to jump in. He is a caregiver, and that is always priority. And so if he does pop in, we'll be glad to have him. But Nancy is going to have to hold it down this morning. So I do this often, and everything we talk about, I believe you should share. But specifically this morning, in the vein of what we're observing in Baltimore, it is so important that we listen in with Nancy and find out about resources and different things we need to do to be prepared in case there's an emergency here in the city of Boston and locally. So without further ado, I would like to ask you to welcome Nancy Smith, who is from now. You know, I've been around for a while, and some of these departments and org charts, and if you look on paper, things have changed. So I was getting ready to say that you're from the Public Health Commission, which is under the, so I got it right?
Well, no, kind of, sort of, I was with the commission for 20 years.
Hold on. Let me give you at least a chance to say good morning. I'm sorry, Nancy. Here I am here being old and thinking I know, but I got a little bit right. But please greet the people. You are no stranger to the Java Cafe. I need to let everybody know Nancy is a charter member from way back 4 years ago. Very supportive in the background, pushing people. I remember we had a Black doctor that works with the National Emergency Preparedness folks and got a free membership to that. And I still get their emails. So Nancy is no stranger to the cafe, though she's just appearing on screen with us today. So Nancy, please, and I'm sure they recognize you from the comments over the years. And so please introduce yourself formally to the Java family.
Okay, awesomeness. So I'm Nancy Smith, and I like to start off with, I am from Atlanta, all right? And came here, went to school, and literally purchased my first 40 acres and a mule in the Grove Hall area. So I'm very planted with being traveling between two cities. And as a matter of fact, I see Jimmy before COVID and some other people, Chip, always at Atlanta airport. So I'm not going to talk bad about that.
That was after COVID. I had to get out and get free G's.
Let me tell you, listen and say, we ain't even got to have no passport. Just give us that, ID, real ID, we're gone, okay?
The real ID or TSA pre-check or clear something.
Clear something. Let me just get up out of here.
Yes,
so with all of that, I have to say that, I did 20 years with the Boston Public Health Commission. I worked in 5 different departments and 3 bureaus. And so I am a public health person, and was very blessed and fortunate to actually work not as a colleague of, I'm going to name his Chief Benford, when he was over at BPHC, and he left and went over to the city. And so what has happened is that I like to say that New England is joining the rest of the global world. When we say that, you just talked about what happened in Baltimore.
Yes, ma'am.
It is emergencies, disasters, they can happen at any time. And so we're not in the sense of like always thinking that we're thinking negative. We're always thinking like, let's be prepared. And you mentioned the pandemic. The pandemic kind of pulled out this opportunity for people to really show how strong their communities are. We saw people doing some of the most miraculous things ever. Like, I mean, they were pulling off all kinds of things that the city would not have been able to do if civilians, like just regular everyday people in their neighborhood, decided to take this on. And so with that, and I want you to hold that thought.
Yes, ma'am.
Because of the fact that the community takes care of themselves, right? Okay. And we join in as a city to try to make sure that we put things in place that will continue the work that they're doing. End of story. That's been how I felt when I was at the Boston Public Health Commission. That's how I feel now with our Office of Emergency Management. We're behind the scene doing a lot of work. I wish Cameron was on here because he does a better job at telling you the story of what we do, not just for the city of Boston, but for the region. Okay. And so do you mind if I just go ahead and talk a little bit about the community emergency response teams?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. I just want to make sure folks know where what we're talking about. But go ahead, Nancy, please.
Okay. So the community emergency response team, which is CERT, was literally started in 1985 over in California by a fire chief. He saw where the community was really the ones who could help much quicker, not only in the preparedness, but also in the response and recovery of an emergency. Moving a fast forward, FEMA, which is a federal program, decided that they really liked this a lot, and they said, let's take it and let's make it a national model. So what you're looking at is big cities, little cities, all kinds of towns. Right now, CERT has over 3,000 chapters with over 600,000 members. All right. So people say, New York has had their CERT team for 20 years. And this past September, they celebrated their CERT teams by lighting up the Empire State Building and just thanking them for all the deployments. I think they did over 300 deployments. And these are volunteers, right? So people say, well, where's Boston? Where has Boston been? Well, under Mayor Menino, the CERT program did exist. And then, as you guys know, funding happens, and then sometimes some programs lose funding. So some funding things happened. And when Mayor Walsh came on, and he had also hired Chief Benford, we'll talk later about your relationship with Chief Benford from out of the school, that amazing school that everybody is like, I'm meeting all these great people and now finding out where y'all went to school at, you know.
Shout out to Madison Park High School. There are good things, good people, and just good that comes up out of Madison. Sorry, go ahead.
They all went to Madison. I'm finding out. We want to see some pictures. I'll go look and have to have some. We don't want to see no pictures. Don't want to see no pictures. So Chief Benford was given the task from Mayor Walsh to bring back the CERT team, and literally he has been doing that. And one of the things that I was very blessed and fortunate, I got hired to help rebuild the CERT team. It's taken us 2 years, and people say, why would it take so long? Well, there's so many things that we had to put in place, the infrastructure, making sure the insurance, just a lot of things that you just don't open the doors and just offer a program without strategically planning stuff.
Yep.
And so where we're at now is that we're in a full launch. We did a program last year that sits inside of the CERT program that's called Until Help Arrives. And just want to give you a little feedback on that.
Please.
That program is a four-hour program. And so the community in Roxbury, last October, we had 91 people to show up to get this training. So even by finding out a little bit of movement, knowing what the community was interested in, it allowed us to know that we were in the right track. The CERT program is a little bit more committed, right?
Okay.
And I'm going to just tell you, and we're going to go back to just porch conversations that happen. We really use the word volunteer, but I don't know if you, Jimmy, I didn't really grow up with the word I'm volunteering. We
Yeah.
just kind of learn. Yeah, there we go. Right. So we can be in the same space. We kind of grow up saying you got to go help them. We got to go
And
help
that's
them. We got to,
pretty much it. Yep.
pretty much it. And so understanding that process of the thinking of what is a volunteer, we're going to go help them. So the program that's set up when nationally, like I've gotten a chance and to fortunately go to two national CERT conferences, and I also sit in a very unique position right now. I sit as the DEIB advisor, and I've discovered so many opportunities around the United States that folks are doing with their CERT program. And so when I'm on these national calls, I'm just going to tell you what they say is lovingly and friendly, but it's also they like, "Hi, sleepy New England, what's happening there?" And they're not throwing shade.
But in the context of like the natural disasters and things like that, like we have our own issues. Snow. There's been a lot of flooding lately. Heat the past couple of years, but in comparison, we're blessed. Shall we frame it like that? We'll frame it like that. We're blessed in comparison to other parts of the country. Absolutely, absolutely.
Exactly. But they've also invested in us. And when I say invested, like funding, Jimmy, you know what this is about. Like,
yes,
we fought really hard to bring some dollars into this area to create this program, and we need Boston to show the fact that they need this program, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so grateful that you allowed us to come in before the closeout for our registration for 2024, which is March 31st is the deadline date for people who are interested in taking the class. It's one of those moments where we were doing a very slow rollout because we had things planned, like, okay, we're gonna have, and then we were told, like, oh no, we got to take a 3-year strategy and roll it all into 1 year. And what does that actually mean? That means offering the course in many ways for people to take it. So I do want to talk about the different courses that folks will be able to do. We have a Tuesday class that will be from 10 to 12. We have another Tuesday class that same night that's 6 to 8. And then we have a Saturday class that straddles 3 months. It's a longer class. It's from 9 to 1:30, and it's at the bowling building. All of the locations are all in Roxbury right now.
okay.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why I want to highlight, and we also have another course that we're taking with the Boston Fire with the cadets, but that's a private class, and so no one will be able to sign up for that. But one of the nice things about the courses that you're looking at that's being highlighted is that the familiarity of some of the people that's going to be teaching some of the courses. And I want to highlight one of my favorites. I'm just going to tell you is the disaster psychological class, which
And
is
where is that? I just want to get to that real
yep.
quick. So it's on screen while we're talking about.
It's going to be unit 5.
Okay.
So I'm going to mention some names here, and I know you guys are going to recognize these folks in the room. It's 2 components, and the reason why I want to highlight this is because this has been one of our most popular one. We've piloted this program, and so folks are going to have a chance to learn about self-care, and that's going to be with Carl Donaldson doing Chi Kwang. He told me to tell you hello, Jimmy.
Uncle
And
Carl. Yes.
Uncle Carl. So we're really excited. People are going to have that opportunity to take a class with him. And then the survivor portion, like taking care of the survivor, is going to be with Courtney Gray.
Okay. Another staple in our community. I gotta admit, Courtney laid the foundation years ago. In this space that I used to move in this space more around trauma and whatnot, but yeah.
Yeah. So when you look at what we're bringing to the table, all of these courses have their own uniqueness, such as I'll give an example. Unit 3 and 4, which is our disaster medical operations, will be headed out by three different groups: Boston EMS, EpiCare, if you're not familiar with them, and also I'm going to give a big shout out to Brian Pomodora, who is one of the original folks who actually gave me my wings under CERT back in Newton. I had to take my coursework because Boston didn't have a CERT team. So I had to do my CERT training in Newton. So I want to give Brian a big shout out because he's also doing some things for us that is phenomenal with our classes that we're doing on Tuesday, which is a partnership with the Disability Commission. And the reason why I'm going to stop and talk a little bit about that one, because this is very unique. So we were fortunate enough to do a program last summer at BAMS Fest called The Art of Mass Gathering. It allowed us to really look through the lens of individuals with mobility at festivals. How really are they? We got a lot to do, right? You know, we can't just roll people up to, the cement and say, oh, here we go, you can watch. No, we have to do a little bit more. We got to make those pathways. Thank you. So there we had a great opportunity to get to know one of the folks over at the commission. And she said to me, this is at the Disability Commission, she said, Nancy, when are you guys going to have a class for us? And I was like, for us? I mean, all of us. Because you see, we live in this world where we're thinking we're inclusive, but guess what? We have to be more intentional.
Thank you, because I've in this fight for equity. I'm doing some things with BAA, and they were one of the first that when I mentioned that in equity, here and listen, we're both Black. We focus on equity, Black and brown folks. We know when Black and brown folks do well, everybody does well. But the intentionality around naming those with I call, unique abilities, whether learning or physical, uniqueness. Thank you for being very intentional about that, because even more so with those brothers and sisters, there does need to be an extra bit of attention because they need specific things because of their unique ability. So thank you for that.
Well, it got even deeper than this. So you start on something and you never know where it's going to go. So for the last 3 months, we've had an advisory group that we have folks calling in from DC who have CERT teams that are all deaf. Okay. And we're like, okay, how y'all doing that? Like, we need to learn from this, right? Okay. Then we have another woman who is just, this is mind blowing for me. She's the first person to graduate from Mass Maritime who is blind. All right. So we had this advisory group going and everybody's just learning from everyone. And normally what happens in these trainings, you would separate groups. You would have like those who have sight, they're taking this class. Those who do not have sight, they're taking this class. And then those who don't have hearing, they decided to make it be, we want to train together. And I thought this was a big moment that the light bulb went off, because guess what? We're going to be all together during a disaster. So if we can't figure out how to train together, we got a bigger problem. So the class that's offering on Tuesday is going to be an amazing pilot. From my understand, it's the first time it's actually been done nationally. And so we know that we're going to be looking at the roses and thorns on trying to make things more equitable. The program itself has over 70 activities, like the CERT program itself, 70 activities that people are doing. And they're literally going through line by line, to look at each one of those activities and events to say, is that equitable? Okay, we're not going to change the CERT program, but we're going to make something more adaptable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I'll give you an example. One example of a team building is to build this tower. It has to be like 5 feet. And you give the participants construction paper and tape. Now, when they looked at that, they were like, okay, if I can't see and I'm by myself, I'm not going to be able to build this. But guess what they decided to write in the thing? They said, they made a suggestion, can we have Legos?
I'm mad at Legos. That's one of my favorite.
Well, you should have a Jimmy show at the Lego in Somerville. Oh, that would be nice.
Don't start there.
Okay, I'm looking at planting some seeds up in here.
Yes,
yeah, so that's what we're doing with that class. And we're bringing out all the devices that we can possibly use. We're going to be using the OWL. So it's been around for a while, but it's capturing a great opportunity. We have okay, now I'm going to give a shout out. I'm so sorry. I have to give a shout out to the City of Boston, LCA. Yep. Okay. I have been blown away with the interpreters that is provided in this city. And the service that the City of Boston gives to the residents. And for you to have a program and they support it, it's just been phenomenal. I can't even, when I talk to other people around the United States, no one has an ordinance that allows this. So, you know, a lot of classes that people sign up for, they end up canceling them because they don't have the funding. Yep. And this is amazing. I am just really blown away with the interpreter service from the City of Boston. I just want to give a shout out. And
I noticed that at different events where either the mayor's speaking or, you know, when we really noticed was during COVID, when Marty and Mayor Janey, they would come out, there was always an interpreter. We're used to seeing them at the State of the City address. We're used to seeing them at major events. And so even my manager, Newt, would often talk about, actually, Nancy, he actually mentioned that we should do a show with them. And this was a couple of years ago to talk about that, because it is so important for our unique those that with unique abilities or physical abilities have the information. We're talking marginalized. They often are as well. And then don't have a subset marginalization with that, then even more so. And so thank y'all for thank you for your intentionality there.
Well, and I tell you, if you've ever seen them show up with their set of devices, you know, because one of the things they want to make sure, if someone, like at a public meeting, so in a public meeting, you really don't know who's going to show up that's going to need, you know, languages. And I don't know if you know, I've actually literally taken pictures of their setup and just been in awe as I talk to other folks in other regions, and they go, Nancy, we can't even offer anything like this. You know, we have to have stuff like 2 weeks in advance and blah, 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 blah. I said, you know what? This is making a difference in the way of quality of living, but also respectability of everyone in what they do, what they bring to the table. Because we're excited. Now I'm going to brag a little bit.
Brag.
Okay. But I'm going to brag. Okay. So one of the things that we may be coming late to the table as far as one of the big cities to have a CERT program, but we're coming to the table bringing some pretty big things on a national level, but also working with individuals who are local. Okay. So the CERT program, the books themselves from FEMA, they only had them in English, Spanish, Mandarin, Korean, and Vietnamese. And we received funding from our region, which is 8 other municipalities that voted on this. And we now have the participant guide that is in Haitian Creole, Cape Verdean Creole, Russian, and Braille. So
Russian and Braille?
Yes. Yes. So for us, when we talk about what we're doing for our residents here,
Mhm.
we will have those books available for them in those languages that are at the top tier of
Look, look, look,
for
look, look, look. Look who's over on YouTube making comments.
Oh my God, thank you. He's gonna end it. Thank you about the alerts. Yes, see? Come on in. There we go. See,
I wrote is on there.
that's my guy.
Look,
Yeah, so we're
she's refreshing the Metro Boston Homeland. She's referring to. Go ahead, Nancy. Y'all, we're gonna work this out one way or another. He's going to be on here.
Yes, this is perfect because Chiron, that's his specialty. See, like I got my little wheels that I be doing, and he got his, and so that's why I was like,
Teamwork
oh, he told me
makes the dream work.
It really does. And we have an incredible team. I have to tell you, when we said that we were, the chief is launching this CERT program, we have a staff. Chiron, you might be able to help me with this because we live in these different pod worlds where it's only on Wednesday that we get to see all of us.
Okay.
And I think we have 32 staff members. Is that about right?
I'll
He
see a
knows
comment come up in 2 seconds with a number.
Yeah.
And just for those of you that we don't have Chiron on screen, but this is what he looks like.
I am so glad that he is here because he's going to help keep my numbers right and everything. But when the chief said, you know, CERT is rolling out, oh, there you go, 26.
26.
I added some extra people. Well, because where our location is, we're over
You
the
might
EMS
need, look. You might need them, and hopefully, you know, you won't. Hopefully, you know, climate change will be implemented, and we won't have another pandemic, and you know, we'll do well as a community. And so, but you know, you might need it for the expansion, even into the more marginalized communities. So, shout out to the good brother. And he's still in here with us one way or another. As I mentioned before, if you guys are just tuning in and wondering who this guy is, he is a caregiver, and so that is first priority. So he was not able to be on screen, but we're gonna get him on screen one way or another. There he is. So yes, Nancy, go ahead and continue. You're talking about you did get funding to get the manuals interpreted in Russian and in Braille, in addition to Haitian Creole, and then the others that you already had.
Yes, exactly.
I want to ask a question because you know I hear things differently when it comes to government. There's the reference to sleepy New England. I heard some language from you that made me feel that we need to make sure that we get folks signed up for this, because I presume at some level of this, there are what's called formulary grants. And the formula typically is it's numbers. And often in one fiscal year, if you said that you were going to do 50 and your report said you did 30, when you apply for the same amount of money at what we call level funding, they're going to be like, hey, you didn't get the other numbers before, so why should we fund you to stay at that number? Can I just be real? You didn't say that. I'm saying how I interpreted what you said. And so we want to make sure that folks know about the registration. So if we've covered everything to get folks prepared, no pun intended, to get ready, I do want to go through and just make sure folks have the registration link as well.
Okay. So when you go up onto the site that you just listed, which is the emergency for the city of Boston / CERT, they can actually register for both the in-person and the online module. Now, I'm just going to let everyone know, because of the fact that a lot of folks were like, oh, I just found out about the online module and it's 12 hours. And we had given instructions that you had to complete the 12 hours before showing up to the in-person. We're giving a waive on that. We're going to be giving people a little more extra time. They can still sign up for the in-person, but they will have to complete the 12 hours online in order to stay in the course. And the reason why is because the 12 hours online class, which you can take it at any time, prepares you for the in-persons. Okay. So I'll give an example. I had mentioned Unit 5, which was disaster psychology, which I love that one. Unit 6 is fire suppression. That's with Boston Fire Department. So they're going to come in and provide, and I don't know if everyone knows, Hank Perkins, Lieutenant Hank Perkins of the fire department. So him and also Tyred Castro from out of Newton will be presenting fire safety. You guys will get a chance to actually practice in putting out fires. When do you get to do that?
The little because when I was younger, Jesus, but fire fascinated. I didn't do nothing crazy, but you said something about the put out fire. I perked up a little bit. And so let's just go back and make sure that there is a level of investment. You made reference earlier to the fact that sometimes when you hear the word volunteer, sometimes it's interpreted as, sort of a quick thing. We go out, haha, nice, take pictures and keep it moving. No, this is an investment you're making in yourself for your immediate community, and then also the larger community around you. God forbid if we ever have to deal with an emergency. And Nancy, I have to let you know, look who's in the room.
Oh, Black Charles and Dima, yes.
We got the national folks in here. Well, international, actually.
International.
And so let me just ask you real quick, Nancy, when we talk, I mentioned a piece about funding and ensuring that folks are aware and sign up for this. When there are emergencies, when there are pandemics, when there's this saying that if America catches a cold, Black and brown folks catch the flu.
Yes.
And so can you just speak for a moment? We talked about equity in language. We talked about equity with the interpreters. Can you talk about sort of our seizing of equity in actively participating in things like this? Because as you said, the government realizes it, data shows it. There was a reference you made until help comes. If anything goes down right now, guess who's going to really hold each other down? Folks within a block of each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so can you just speak to the equity of participating in trainings like this and being prepared? This region's been very interesting with flooding lately. Folks, I was on a show some months ago and electricity went out due to the weather. And so where is the equity in our participation in being prepared?
So one of the things is an emergency is every day for us, period. And I always like to tell people, everyone in the room is an emergency manager in their own rights, in their own home, because we're dealing with so many other things. One of the things that set out, and I'm just going to be very honest with you guys, because this is a porch conversation. When I started pursuing this trajectory and going into CERT, one of the things I noticed immediately was that it was a world that did not have a lot of people of color, other than in DC, Atlanta, New York.
Yep.
Okay, you understand? Because they have a relationship with faith-based.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. And so because this training is all free, a lot of the partnerships that created are based on, let me get my people over there to get this training. And I'm going to tell you now, we're going to talk about branding, right? For the last 3 years, I've been working on this project to have my NAACP members on a national level to come over to CERT and get trained. When we do the GIS mapping, these locations are like really right next door to each other. Like you wouldn't believe this. It's like a CERT team is right next door. But what has prevented them from going over and getting trained? I had a wonderful woman, older Black woman, who said this to me, and this is when the light bulb goes off. She goes, well, what shirt am I going to be wearing? And I said, oh, wait a minute. Us NAAC people, we love to have our shirts and our bags, and listen, and we want y'all to know it was us. All right. So we presented this back to the NCA, and they said, Nancy, as long as they're getting deployed under the NAACP, they're going to wear their shirts. But if they're getting deployed under the CERT team in their local area, they will be wearing those shirts. But we also had these little pins made so that people will know that you are CERT certified, even if you're wearing an NAACP shirt. You've gotten the training. This is federal money that's in your community that is training, right? Why are we not taking advantage of this? Why are we not? And this is going to be the charge until I get another job, is intentional bringing this to the table. New York has figured it out, right? When you look at their CERT teams, it's diversity. They even have a tribal CERT team. They have different languages. I mean, so we are at the beginning, but this is not that we are getting ready to blow up. I'm going to just say, because I know Boston, I've just seen the work here, and I've seen the concern about equity. And we do actually have another piece that I want to share with you. MEMA had some funding out there, and I wrote an abstract with one of my team members.
And let's clarify for folks, MEMA is the Massachusetts Emergency Management
Exactly. They run the whole state. They actually provided funding for us to do a DEIB curriculum. And the reason why is because I just want to let you guys know, when you leave outside of Boston, our CERT teams do not look big. I'm just going to tell you, I'm the only Black at meetings. Yeah, I am. And so what does that say? Well, guess what? MEMA was like, let's do a curriculum, because we want to make sure and find out in the room. And we have a consultant that's working with us to create this curriculum so that everyone can come to the table with the tools that they need. We can't always sit and say, well, you haven't been exposed to other folks. Well, guess what? You haven't been exposed to other folks. And so how can we make everyone feel more comfortable? How can we make you feel like this is okay? I had a wonderful conversation with someone, and they were just like, Nancy, I'm not mad at this situation. I'm mad at the fact that resources are being taken away from us. And so when you start, just unpeeling the onion.
Yes, ma'am.
The onion, you have to go and have these hard conversations so that you can make a better meal with a person, so they can understand what's going on, and just make it a little bit more comfortable, because no one wants to see anybody hungry. Nobody wants to see anyone on the streets. We all want the same. We want the best. We want the best of humanity, right? And so most of most of us. So that's where we're at when we talk about the equity. I do have to say that the CERT teams in the southern region, they do look like us, right? But wearing these t-shirts is very important. And you start thinking about who wants to get branded to say that they came and saved their community. For us at the CERT level, we just want you to get the training. Yep. You can put on Peter Pan's shirt and go and save people. We just want you to get this free training. And like I said, it's in your community. We fought hard to bring this money to Boston, to this area. And we really want folks to come out and get this training.
We want to make sure that folks know in the comments right there. I put it on screen. It looks interesting on screen. However, if you go into the comments, and I usually say do it after, but if you need to leave the show right now and just click the comment and go and fill out the information to at least register. Now, don't give them the numbers to register and you don't plan on showing up. Look through the curriculum, look through what the prerequisites are, and really consider this because we just don't know. And
I have to tell you, Jimmy, I'm one of those individuals, like and Kyron would tell you this, we are bringing devices into the space that will allow folks, we understand that life happens, and we want everyone to have exposure to that class that's happening that day. And so if something comes up and you can't do that in person, we're hoping that the OWL, and you'll be able to call in and be able to watch what's going on. And you'll do a little test, because we have to give you some homework, because we have to validate the fact that, you're learning this knowledge base. And we're planning on graduating everybody out of here on July 9th. We're going to have a wonderful graduation at the bowling building. This will be the first inaugural class. I don't know if the mayor is going to be coming, but I hope she is. I'm putting that out there. From the city.
Look. Get that email and stuff over to Phyllis more sooner than later.
Oh gosh, definitely with Brianna, it's important. like, I just want to thank you so much for having us. And, you know, I know we pressed you to try to get this in because it was a Women's Month.
History Month. That's fine.
But we also had the deadline, and we really wanted to make sure that the residents in the city had an opportunity to take advantage of this great opportunity.
And I see our brother Charles from BEMA is really, you know, our young people were very instrumental in a lot of the advocacy to where a lot of resources were put into addressing those that are not getting information, mainly in Black communities. But that, again, Black community does well, everybody does well. And so I think what he's hiding is that, you know, you don't have to be 30 years old. You don't have to be 40 years old in order to do this. If you're 18, 19 and want to think about doing this, that is absolutely I believe open as long as you're 18 and over, Nancy. They can sign up.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. That is correct.
Look, that's somebody calling you. Talk about, look, I see you on Facebook. I'm like, knowing that you're on Facebook. But Tyron is in the background, actually trying to get in, and that I hate this, Nancy. Yeah. Alexa, cancel. I'm really going to have to program and get that out of here. Charles is also mentioning that volunteer can work and lead to paid salary position. Notice it on job opportunities, volunteer work in lieu of salary position. That does absolutely stand out to an employer. And also you get this free training here. It may set you up to be able to go and do, you know, get a different type of job if you find yourself impactful and want to stay in this area of helping people. And so, Nancy, again, I want to make sure that folks know that the link is right here in the comments. It's a Google Doc. You go and fill out the information. Remember, Nancy also said you will need to complete, I believe, 12 hours of online training to get ready for the in-person. So if I'm right, the first training is scheduled for Tuesday, April 9th.
That's correct. But like I said, we are giving a pass card for individuals if they are not finished that 12 hours.
They can start. They can still start. Okay.
They can still start.
Understanding that you need to finish that 12-hour. Don't go in there not prepared, and we need you in the community, and then you miss that course. Sitting up there trying to put out a fire with a water gun.
Oh my God, yes, that is so true. But like I said, we are very flexible because, like I said, for a lot of individuals, they were like, I just found out about the 12 hours and you know, and people have things, but you can go in at any time to take these classes. And here's the thing that I want to just make this very clear. Anyone and anybody can take the 12 hours online. Okay. Because you're going from
you can just go do that, whether they, you know, you all will see that they registered and signed in, but
if you just want to know a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the wonderful part about why we selected this portal, because, you know, let's be clear, everybody's not trusting the government. So this allows you to learn a little bit more about emergency management, learn a little bit more about the trainings that are coming up. And I do want to go back to that workforce piece. I never woke up and said I was going to be a Black emergency manager. It just didn't happen. Along the way, from being a stockbroker, then going and becoming a public health person, I saw this transition that I was morphing into becoming more about emergency management. The career opportunities, I hate to say this, is going to be growing because we don't see a slowdown in this field, but we need to see more of. And we need to see women. We need to see us in this space, and I say that unapologetically. I really do. When you get to have Chief Benford on the line, he will share with you some numbers that you guys will probably be like, really? You know, with the number of people in his capacity as a chief of an emergency management office. And where he's also going the numbers are so small.
Okay. Kyrana's background trying to get in. Unmute, and we may be able to close out with him real quick. If you click there he goes. Brother.
Hey, how you doing? Good morning.
Oh, Nancy, you got him.
Yeah.
Look. He done worked out getting his little picture on screen and whatnot.
Hey man, you know, if there's one thing about us, we're gonna make it work. So And that's
Listen,
one thing
it's
about CERT, man. We got to be ready to improvise. We got just-in-time trainings and stuff we be testing out. So, yeah, happy to be here, and thank you for having us.
absolutely, man. So tell us just a little bit. I asked Nancy, and we got to wrap up in a second, but the last thing she was speaking about is the equity of this. I know that you're invested in making sure that people have this information. This has been almost let's keep it 100, bro. Almost 2 years, 2 years in the making of
For
getting
sure.
you on here. So where is the equity in folks seizing this resource and opportunity, brother?
I mean, that's what we're here to build, right? So, Nancy kind of hinted to it. As you look across the country, you don't see a lot of us involved in these programs, and so we're being really intentional by making sure that we're tapping into every channel that we can, that we're asking people to spread the word to their family, their networks, their neighbors. And so we're really looking forward to getting this pilot off the ground, having our first iteration of courses, so that way we can continue to promote this, and then also have ambassadors for the program that can speak to the greatness of this and why it's so important and so valuable that we be a part of this. We're working with all the neighborhood associations to make sure that they have the information, any community groups that we're affiliated with. Even if we're not, we're reaching out and at least trying to make sure that people are aware of this opportunity.
Brother, I appreciate you. We're gonna have to figure out how to get you on at another time. Salute to you for being a caregiver for your mom. I know what that is, as I was for my grandfather, and I see you one way or another. You probably doing something there at the house and on the phone trying to work it out, multitasking. And so we definitely appreciate you for jumping in. Again, timing is everything. And I think with Kyron, you can speak to this if you would like, and Nancy as well, as we get ready to close out. I'm observing what happened in Baltimore. And bro, you just never know. We came out of COVID. Boston has had a lot of floodings, a lot of issues with flooding lately. And so, again, I just think the timing of this is so important, because we take, Nancy said that sometimes when she's on calls, they refer to New England as sleepy. We deal with multiple inches of snow and things like that, but we have to be honest. We don't deal with things like other parts of the country, but we have emergencies. And so lastly, going out, how important is it for us to be prepared for emergencies in general, and especially for folks that look like the three of us on this screen?
For sure. It's second to none is how I feel about it.
Okay.
When you think about it, right? And I'm gonna start with the 3 pillars, and I'm gonna show you how that ends up in reality, right?
Mhm.
So the 3 pillars are: you create an emergency plan, you have an emergency kit or a go bag, right, which has your essential items, and then lastly, you just want to be informed, right? And so what does that look like? So, well, for Boston, we have Alert Boston, which is our community emergency mass notification program, where people can get notified about major emergencies impacting the city, what resources are available, and what steps they should take to protect them and their loved ones. So that's first. You can go on boston.gov/emergency, which is our homepage, to get that information, and to also get information about how you can create that emergency plan, how you can build out that emergency kit, and what items should be in there. Some items that I'll highlight just off the top: any important documents, any medications, food and water for at least 3 days supply, right? And so what you see is you really want to prepare during what we call a blue sky sunny day. When there is no emergency in sight, that's the best day to prepare, because guess what? When the pandemic hit, what happened to those supermarkets? What happened to all that tissue? Yeah, it was gone. You couldn't get none. So you got to prepare beforehand to make sure that you and your loved ones are ready to go.
Because in the next couple of days, because of what folks heard on Java with Jimmy, we're going to see reports of all of a sudden there's a decrease in toilet tissue availability and cost increases. No, but we also, we got to express some Black joy here, because the reality of what you're saying, both of you, is that we do need to be prepared, and often we're not, because of life issues, working 2 or 3 jobs. Some just don't have the information. And so I just want to reiterate on what you said about going to, so you gave the 3 pillars: plan for an emergency. What was the second one?
have an emergency kit or a go bag. And so the difference between that is an emergency kit is really utilized for if you have to shelter in place. A go
Okay.
bag is exactly what it says when you got to go out that door. So when you think about a fire, you don't have time to be grabbing all your valuables. You got to really just get up and go. And so if you have that go bag, at least you know you got your most essential items that can at least help you kickstart the process of getting back to normalcy.
You're getting some shout outs on here too, just like Nancy was. Quincy is in the building. Chiron is a gem for the city and real work. Rhonda said, you know where Rhonda's from, I think on 6th floor. She said, yes, he is. And Nancy was getting her accolades earlier. And so similar to, you know, folks that I had on from the pretrial court yesterday, it's good. Nancy alluded to the fact that some people don't trust government. I want to take this opportunity from yesterday and today to let folks know that there are people in municipalities and counties and in states, and yes, even in the feds. I used to be a federal officer.
Yes.
There. And are working through systems and structures to ensure that we get the information and that we are prepared. Donna got me started at daggone 9:55.
For sure, but we're very intentional about that.
Yes, sir.
Especially, you know, me, Nancy, and the chief. I want to just double down on what Chief Benford has done for the Office of Emergency Management. He has totally revamped that office. I mean, it was kind of a bad place to be prior to him coming there. He's totally revamped the culture, the environment, and you know, when I first came in for my interview, he let me know right then and there, community is the priority. Okay.
And he said it just like this. Chiron.
I can't wait for you guys to have him on. Oh my goodness.
That's my boy from way back in freshman year, Madison Park High School class of 1990. Something good comes up out of Madison Park, Boston Public Schools here.
You know, he's been doing dual roles for the past 2 or 3 years. He's been the chief of BSA and the chief of emergency management. We got to give that man his flowers.
Hold on. I think we got good sound effects here. Hold on. Can y'all hear the clapping?
Yep.
There goes. We got to celebrate that black man that is doing it, yourself as well, and Nancy as well. Because again, a world pandemic to as recently as what we saw with the bridge collapse in Baltimore, we definitely need to be sure that we are prepared. And one of the things, I have a lot of elders that are part of the Java family, and we need to be sure that you all understand that you need to make sure you have at least 30 days of extra medication in your home, and you want to cycle that also, that, you know, the expiration date, and maybe at some point we might need to figure out how to maybe do a session, Chiron, just for elders, for them to prepare, because there's at least 9 or 10 mothers in here, the mothers board, that we want to make sure them and others have the information as well.
That's actually a great segue.
Right. And also, you do know that the seniors and elders can take this class. Listen, I tell people this: when an emergency happens, we need everybody.
That's right.
And if the seniors can look at this schedule and say, I want to come, we want you, because the whole community is the whole community, right? And I've gotten some folks who are retired teachers, and they're signing up for the class. You know, you are the diamond in your community, you know, and what we're hoping and with this program is that we want to, and Chiron's going to get mad when I said, I hope one day we do look like New York, in the sense to be able to brag about the boroughs are being, 60% with CERT members and trained up and, deployed. If you get to choose if you want to be deployed on that, but they're training up their neighborhoods in a way and using those FEMA dollars to do it, and we need to definitely be a part of that as well.
Chiron, I know you wanted to mention something there as well.
Yep, just real quick on the back, and that was a great segue. If you'd like to have us come present to a group, if there's community organizations who are listening to this, or neighborhood associations that are listening to this broadcast, we are more than happy to come out, and engage with you, present to you, answer any questions, anything like that. I know Nancy had a great information session yesterday where she talked about CERT. And so please invite us out. You can reach us at at oem@boston.gov, or you can reach out to me directly, chiron.owens@boston.gov. We're more than happy to come out, engage with you, and make sure that you have all the information you need to be prepared in the city of Boston, but also to join our amazing CERT team that Nancy's been working so hard and diligently on.
All right. I want to make sure that folks have the email. Oh, and trust me, folks in here, they're out of the almost 90 folks that are in here, you might get a good 5 emails. OEM@boston.gov is where you can email the department. And Chiron, I'm always sensitive to y'all giving out your personal. So the department email is the one that will show. If folks heard it, they heard it. And Quincy Roberts, go somewhere. Chiron, Quincy's in here talking about Java. You're an elder. What?
He's starting something. This is on a Tuesday and he's starting up already. Oh my goodness.
You know what that means, man. We gotta go see my guy down there at Estella.
Oh yeah, look, come see both of us. Makers in the building as well. And so one of the things I mentioned, Chiron, is we have some elders in here, and here goes one of them. Senior and Mother's Board will pray for the family and friends, first responders, Coast Guard out there working for those lost at the bridge. I thought she was saying that in general, and I'm sure she's covering you. Sharon, add them as well, because there is a mental health impact of this, in supporting community and dealing with things. And we've been, fortunate, but we have the marathon bombing that happened. There are different types of emergencies. Obi asked earlier, what type of emergencies? And so all and every, as much as possible, I would believe that this department is trying to prepare us for if there's a shelter in place, if there, God forbid, we see these blue signs on the street now, evacuate this way. I see them every once in a while at a stoplight, and I'm wondering, I wonder, what would happen if that ever happened. But that's why we need to go back. Go ahead.
I got you. So with the evacuation plan, right? Essentially, what you need to know is that we're going to put, depending on the emergency that happens and how it impacts the city, that's also going to advise the evacuation plan on behalf of the city, right? And so when you think about evacuation, we're not going to shut down any streets. We're going to keep you safe. We're going to keep you from the area that's impacted, but we're really not going to shut down streets, but we will put resources on, major arteries and things like that to help assist. So for example, if you had to evacuate and you want to take the back roads to Maine, take the back roads to Maine. I wish, you know what I mean? And you're good with that. But if you want to follow, where the resources are in terms of like public safety, public health, all that kind of stuff, then you'll go whichever route the city identifies for that emergency.
So Chiron, let me just say something right now for us, because something happens, the shortcut. Let's keep it 100. We're going to take the shortcut to try to get up out of here. Come on. So what you're saying is the back roads don't have the resources. If something happens, listen, this is good. God forbid if something happens, where you are guaranteed resources, where it's feasible and logistically, despite the emergency, you said it's an individual depending on the emergency. If you take the back roads, if something happens, you're not guaranteed to have the resources that you may be available to you if you're on the evacuation route. Am I right? Did I hear you correctly?
Yeah, because there's only so many resources, correct?
Yes, sir.
And how many back streets are there?
We have to, because there's a seriousness in this, and so we have to laugh in order to, one, folks are going to remember that point because we laugh, but two, you would have never, listen, let's keep it 100. I get off of here, emergency happens right now, and y'all tell me to go to City Hall. I know a quick way to get to City Hall. I'm not going to go down Washington Street and all of that where the route may tell me to go. But we would have never known this had you not communicated that here. You know what I'm saying? And that I jokingly said, us or whatever, everybody tries to take a shortcut to go somewhere, but we don't feel like sitting in the car and all that traffic. We think we know the shortcut, but no, you don't. That right there, if nothing else came up out of here, that thing, because God forbid if anything ever happened, we'd be on the road and a tree fall on the back road. They're not coming to get that tree up on the back road. No, those resources are dedicated to where the evacuation route is. My God, today. Okay.
Yeah, because you have to think about it. Most people probably aren't going to take the back road. They're going to try to hit a main street or the major arteries. And so we need to make sure that the traffic is still flowing as it needs to, correct?
Yes,
because
yes,
if there's no resources there, you're leaving people to their own devices and it can get very chaotic, right? So
you see
in
the
order
movies.
to try to
You seen the
You
movies
do,
of the
brother.
stuff that goes on. Folks go into survival. Shoot, sorry. All right, y'all done got
Yeah.
10:04. Jesus, we overtime. UCB, y'all
My
get an
bad.
hour today. No, this was good. This was really good. Yeah, this was really good. Don't forget, folks, that the hyperlink to sign up to register is in the comments. Don't forget also that even if you are not taking the course and you want to sign up to take the 12-hour prerequisite course, also keep in mind that if you don't finish that and you still want to sign up for the April 9th, they'll give you a pass with the understanding that during that period of you taking it in person, you're going to go back and finish those 12 hours. Also, if you want to get in touch with the Office of Emergency Management, you can do that. I'm trying to find a comment where I put it at. You can do that here at oem@boston.gov. And also, don't forget, you can go and register for the class and to get the information just in general and stay up to date with what's going on with the Office of Emergency Management. You can go to their website, which is, and you can also sign up for Alert Boston at boston.gov/emergency. That's the hub. That's where you can sign up. That's where you can register. That's where you can watch the 12 hours. That's where you can find out how to make a go bag versus an emergency kit. So we learned first thing he said to do was plan. Then have an emergency kit that stays for you at home, but a go bag is self-explanatory. You basically take your emergency kit and make it mobile. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct. And one thing that lastly that I'll add is the way we like to think about planning is you want to take an all hazards approach. So there's not just one kind of an emergency that we have to worry about here. There's probably about 16 threats or hazards that you should probably be trying to be prepared for. But nevertheless, you always just want to take the all hazards approach.
He said 6. Okay, we might have to do a part 2. This is almost a Durham course itself. 16 type of hazards that we need 16 type of just in cases. Ooh,
okay. Yeah, pretty much.
All right, we want to settle on a good note because I'm just sitting here thinking, and this is real information. Jay from Boston Harbor Now is on Instagram saying, "Thank you all so much. I learned a bunch today." It is imperative that we, one, keep this information in mind, but two, just end on some good note. And so I'm trying to think of something real quick.
Quick, can I go down the quick? Can I do a quick list for you, just so you can see what that 16 looks like?
We're trying to end on a good note, and you're gonna give us all 16 of them.
I'm trying to make sure people get motivated to get prepared, man. I got one job here, and that's to make sure that the city of Boston.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Oh, he's about to give us the 16 of them. Woo.
Got you. The hurricanes, right? So we are susceptible to hurricanes here. You have the thunderstorm and lightnings, right? You have extreme heat, power outage, tornadoes, floods, earthquakes, terrorism and intentional acts, nuclear power plants, hazardous materials, right? You have public health emergencies, nor'easters or coastal storms, droughts, winter storms, extreme cold, and wildfire safety. So those are pretty. I think that might have been 15, but yeah, that was pretty much it. Because hurricane evacuation zones and hurricanes, the same thing.
Okay. So it wasn't as bad. I'm glad you went over the list because some of those we've heard before. Unfortunately, we've experienced September 11th, 2001. We had the marathon that I mentioned a few minutes ago when Nancy and I were chatting. So it wasn't, some of those are very familiar. You know what I mean? Sure. I thought I just hearing those, I think articulated in a list just gave me a little bit of anxiety. But as you listed them, I'm like, okay, we dealt with that. That's familiar, thunderstorms and whatnot. So it wasn't as bad as I thought. So thank you, even for the clarity around that. Folks, we got to get off here.
I'm sorry. Beamer put
Go
in
ahead.
a great comment that I want to highlight, and that is to remember your pets. All of the city of Boston's emergency shelters are pet friendly. So remember to plan for your pets as well, and make sure that you have some items in there for your pets, and your emergency kit, your go bag, because they need it as well. They're our family.
Absolutely. Chiron, look out for Charlotte James from Greater Love Tabernacle. They have a health ministry there, and they're going to sign up for the class as well. But Charlotte, also, you can reach out to Chiron and Nancy, and they'll come do some stuff directly with Greater Love. And that's Pastor Dickerson's church, y'all. Pastor William Dickerson's church.
Yeah, we love that.
And Sharon says, yes, those will also have triggers due to what they've seen and heard. Mental health. The money needs to cover burials as well. Okay, so they got their whole conversation going on here. But thank both of you so much. Again, timing is everything. And from Instagram to Twitter to Facebook and whatnot, folks are really chiming in. And the number one comment is, thank you for the information. I didn't know. Thank you for the information. So I appreciate both of you for being here with us. Give Shemaine my best. Tell him, or let me see how he responds. Hey, what's James doing now? I see him. He's out there. Man, y'all, back in high school, James, he had a different type of energy back then. But he's the right person for the job. If you know,
he is so wonderful.
When I imitate him, it's a very settled, hey, he's the right person for the job. And so shout out to that black man that's doing so much. You got another. So Nancy, this is crazy. What did you say other cities where the black and brown community was also impacted was through the faith community? So you got Rhonda here talking about kingdom builders. They want to collaborate on a session. Y'all right down the street. Well, used to be right down the street from each other. And so Rhonda hit them and y'all work it out. Wonderful things happen here in the Java Cafe. And so I definitely wait a minute, Lisa. I can't see pictures.
Lisa White, yes.
We got Rhonda.
Lisa White is one of she's our girl.
From way back.
Hey, Lisa.
It used to be either at ISD or in this.
Hey, Leslie.
Oh Lord Jesus. Okay. You can't see these pictures and stuff up on here.
You told me to send this out to our friends and and our network, and that's what we did.
Well, it's out here. Lisa's in. Look at Charles. Faith-based funding is available. So correct. Somewhere along another, folks connect and make sure, because we understand that faith entities have a easy, quicker way to get information out to the community. You make announcement on Sunday morning, you share it on the website or listserv, text service, and all of that. And so we got something done here. So Leslie, stop sneaking in. We're glad you're here, but render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. I'm messing. But again,
Please sign up, folks. Come on. Let's get this going. Let's prove that Boston is not so sleepy. Let's prove that CERT is needed here. Let's prove so that when we fill out those abstracts, we have the numbers to compete to get the funding.
Let's reiterate that again, formulary grants, they look at numbers. If your numbers are low, it's hard to get the higher money. You keep your numbers higher, that you are having an impact in training people. It's a formulary grant. And so that, all right, I'm getting off of here. Y'all done got me tired, Jesus, and I got to be in Dedham in an hour.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate you. We appreciate it. And congratulations to you, and your anniversary and that fancy
congratulations
building that you're going to be going to. Big things.
Nancy, get off of here. Maybe once we get over there, we'll do something focused on summer emergency planning or whatever, and have folks come over here, make it social, and also impactful. So we might have to work on that too.
So Jimmy, real quick, I'm gonna make a quick plug on air. So the chief is supposed to be moving on from our department. I believe the date that has been floated around is May 1st. So if there's anything we could do to try to get him on prior to, we'd love to do it.
Okay, we're definitely working on that. Now let me tell you, was it you, Chiron, that sent the date? He sent the invitation to us, talking about Shemaine's coming on Saturday. I was like, oh, we're working out. That's the thing, for you and Nancy as well. So we will make sure that he gets on before, and it's funny because April is Minority Health Month, and I think this is definitely
Black Women's Heritage History Month.
It's Black Women's Heritage Month in April.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I know it's Women's Heritage in general in March. Okay, so I didn't even know there was a
Yeah.
Black Women's Heritage Month.
Yes,
So,
sir.
all right.
On April.
Okay, we'll get him on before April is out. Just circle back with Anissa and we'll be good. But both of you, we are definitely way over time. Didn't mean to keep you all this long. I appreciate it. And this was good. This was really, really good.
And
Hey,
thank
man,
you
it's
so
been a
much. God
blast.
bless
Thank you
you.
again.
Absolutely. Thank both of you. Have a great day, y'all.
You too.
You
Bye
as
bye.
well.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Listen, I know I say this often, everyone, but it is definitely one of the most informative sessions that we've had. And so please make sure you share this and tag people because the equity and emergency preparedness is real. We need it. God forbid if anything happens right now. And I didn't even know about the route thing because y'all know we jump in the car, take the shortcut. So I learned something today. I'm getting off of here. We will see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We have Daniel Callahan, I believe, that is a artist doing a one-man show that's coming in. And then at 9:30, we have Amari Parrish Jeffries that's going to come chat with us about the harm report that was just issued by Embrace Boston. And so tomorrow we have two guests, 9 to 9:30, Daniel Callahan, an artist talking about his one-man show. And then at 9:30, Amari Parrish Jeffries from Embrace Boston will come and chat with us about the results of the harm report that came out just a few weeks ago. And I believe on Thursday, I made a mistake yesterday. Thursday may be just me. The session that I mentioned with Nia Grace of Grace by Nia of both Seaport and now Foxwoods, we're chatting with her Friday morning at 9 a.m., not Thursday, Friday the 29th at 9 a.m. We're going to do a live one-on-one session with Nia Grace from Grace by Nia. So please keep that in mind for Friday morning. That's it for me this morning. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Have a great day, everybody, and we shall chat with you soon. Peace.